Hey guys, Jen here, and welcome back to my channel where I help you become your best self through better health. Okay, so for the past couple of weeks, we've been talking about water. And the main reason that I initially wanted to talk about water was because it's crazy hot. And I wanted to make sure that you were staying healthy and hydrated during these hot summer months, okay? But I realized I couldn't talk about staying healthy and hydrated without talking about the quality of water, because that is just as important as staying hydrated. Because if you weren't aware, not all water is created equal, okay? So if you're having trouble drinking water, one, make sure you go check out my other video, how I reach my daily water goal, plus tips so you can too. And then also, if you're not sure what kind of water to drink, which is what I talked about in my last video, what is the best water to drink, make sure you go check that out as well. The links will be in the description below, so you can check those out so you can get started getting healthy, hydrated, but with the right water. So with that, while I was talking about those two topics, I was like, you know what? I might as well make this like a little series about water, and I'm really excited about it because water, as you know, is a super important element, and I need you all to start drinking more water, okay? But the right water, obviously. And it's such a deep topic that I can really dive deep and go into, because not only are we just, made up over 70% of water, it's a super crucial, important element. But it's not just water. Water is life. And so I'm going to make this a little short series. This video is going to be short and sweet because I'm going to dive into the topics I'm going to talk about here later in more detail in another video down the road, because like I said, I can talk on and on and on about water, okay? Because it's not just water. Water is life, okay? So we're going to talk about that later, and I'm going to get into more details about that. But today, since I talked about those two videos or discussed those two videos and we're talking about water, I wanted to share with you a personal experience and basically why I stopped buying single water bottles. Or single serving water bottles rather, okay? And really I wanted to discuss the plastics that the water that it comes in, and then also why I stopped buying it. So as you know, I always have my notes here just to keep me on track and on par. And I also want to remind you too that, being holistic and living holistically is not just about the food that you're putting into your body. It really is about, your whole life and everything that you're doing in all aspects of your life. And if you're not aware of what holistic means, the term, it means to look at the whole of an individual. So it's mind, body, spirit, and how everything is interconnected. That also includes environmental. So we have to make sure that we're taking care of the earth, Mother Earth, because if we don't take care of her, then there's not going to be any us, okay? So it's important that we take care of Mother Earth and Mother Nature, because we only get one. And again, she's amazing to us, so we need to make sure that we are conscientious and amazing to her as well, so that she can continue to be, amazing, flourish, and all of those good things, right? So for this video, again, the 2 points that I'm going to talk about just real briefly and quickly is just my personal experience, and then also, why I stopped buying the single serve water bottles, the dangers of the plastic in the water bottles, and then the plastic waste, and unfortunately where it all ends up, okay? So we're gonna dive into that real quick. And this really came about because one day I was forced to, I drink a lot of water. That's really the only thing I drink. And I was forced one day to buy, and as I've showed you before, I use my reusable water bottle, but one time I was forced to purchase some single serving water bottles. I think it was because of a storm. And when everybody's rushing to the grocery store, you're getting your water, you're getting your gallons and all of that, preparing just to make sure that you have, fluids when you are stuck in an emergency. So this time I had to go and get single serving water bottles, which again, something that I never do. And that was all that was left. So I had to get it. And I was like, ugh, I hate buying single serving water bottles for numerous of reasons, which I'm going to get into in just a second. And I was just reminded when I looked at my recycling, bin, because I do recycle. Recycling is something that I grew up with my household. So we did recycle when I was younger. So that was kind of instilled with me when I was younger. Shout out to my parents. But also, you know, when I looked at my recycling bin, I saw all of these water bottles, and that just reminded me the main reason why I don't buy single serving water bottles, because if this is just me in my household, I can imagine how many other, you know, water bottles other households have, and just how much waste that is producing, right? So it was a reminder why I don't buy single servings, and then also to the dangers of the plastics that these water bottles come in. If you are not aware, these water bottles, this plastic is not the best for us, okay? So a couple of things. So the plastic that the water comes in, it's known as PET plastic, PET plastic. And it contains dozens of chemicals to create this single serving plastic. And a lot of these single serving plastics cannot be recyclable. And these chemicals that are in the plastic that is made with the water bottles, and then it's also found in other, you know, your food packaging, even your to-go containers, your to-go silverware. Like, a lot of these plastics are made with the PET plastic, the number one that you'll see. And unfortunately, this plastic can leach into the water in the bottles, especially if you leave it out in the hot sun, which is not recommended. I don't know if you remember, don't quote me on this, but I think a high performing athlete, she had cancer or something, and it was linked to the water bottles that were left in her car, and that the chemicals leached into that, and that's what she was drinking, right? So these chemicals include the BPA, the bisphenol A, the formaldehyde, and then also just so many more chemicals that we should not be consuming as human beings that are in this plastic water bottles, okay? And also the food packaging and to-go containers. So also the Environmental Working Group, if you've never checked out their website, that is a great resource, ewg.com or .org. And they have a plethora of information at your fingertips for you to do your due diligence. Like I always say, it's up to us to do our due diligence and our homework on what we're consuming and being a conscious consumer. And they have a plethora of information for you to dive in and do your own research. But they found 38 different contaminants in 10 different water bottles. Okay, this includes disinfecting products, radioactive chemicals, and even bacteria, which has been linked to cancer, reproductive and fertility issues, and also brain issues. Okay, so, and it's just crazy. And it's not just the EWG. I've also read that Texas Southern University actually did tests as well on different water bottles, and they found at least 30 plus contaminants in the water bottles that are on the shelves that you're drinking. Okay, so so that's one reason why I don't buy the plastic single serve water bottles, because of that, because I know that the plastics that they're in, one, is super dangerous, and then two, where it ends up. So being a conscious consumer, it really means caring for Mother Earth and just recycling and making sure that we're not trying to produce too much waste. I mean, I get it, we have to produce some waste, but the idea is not to produce too much. And so if you weren't aware, our recycling system, I was made aware of this a few years ago, that our recycling system really is broken. And the more research I did preparing for, you know, this series, I realized like it really is broken. And there's really only 29% of the things that we recycle actually get recycled. So that means like 71% of the things that we recycle unfortunately end up in landfills. It ends up in our beaches, in our, you know, our water systems. And again, the plastics from the plastic bags, the plastic bottles, that ends up in our water systems. Okay, so that's not good, because again, that's what, like, if you watch the video, you'll see which best water to drink. You'll see that the water systems are not the best, even when they are trying to cleanse and filtrate the water. Okay, so that's the number 2 reason why I don't like buying single serve plastic water bottles. Okay, and even then, I also too don't use plastics at the grocery store. I have my own reusable bags. So I take my own bags when I go grocery shopping. I don't get the plastic. So if you haven't gotten reusable plastic or reusable grocery bags, make sure you do that. And also too, I just recently got some fruit bags. So I don't use the fruit bags, the plastic fruit bags, because again, I just noticed too recently that they started making them compostable, but even still, like I don't want to use those. So I got my own little fruit bags that you can use, that I take with my reusable grocery bags as well. Okay, so that's just another way that I am trying to reduce my waste. And when it's one person and then another and another and another, then we can reduce our waste. Okay, so what do I do instead? And this is how I got duped. Okay, okay, so here's what I do instead. So I recently started buying, so I wasn't buying the single serve water bottles, I started buying the gallons. So I'm buying the gallons instead, but I drink a lot of water. So I'm buying a lot of gallons of water. So I was like, okay, even with this, I'm still producing a lot of plastic waste and I don't want to do that. And even though I am recycling, but again, we just learned that the recycling system is broken and only 29% of those recyclables actually get recycled. So I was like, okay, what am I going to do? I'm going to get my glass jars, which I have here, and I'm going to fill them up with water at those grocery store things that you see all the time, right? So I was like, okay, I'll do that. It's actually cheaper, crunched some numbers, did the whole budgeting. But then I also thought about the delivering as well, the delivering water system. So having water delivered to my place. So I was like, okay, for budget wise, let's just try this first. You know, it's reusable. I'm not doing any plastic. It's the glass container. We're good to go. So I just trusted. I took it for face value. And then as I'm preparing for this water series, I was like, you know what? Something told me, just double check to make sure where this water is coming from those systems. Because it was saying it was either reverse osmosis or alkaline water that is remineralized. And so I was like, okay, not doing the reverse osmosis, but I'll do the alkaline, but that's remineralized. Again, check out the other video to see why. And come to find out, I went to 2 different locations. I'm not going to say the grocery stores, but I went to 2 different locations. And the waters that you see in those refillable things are literally still just the city water filtered. I couldn't believe it. So I was like, oh my gosh. So it looks like I'm going to have to do the delivery because I don't want to drink city water that has been filtered, because it's still not getting all the contaminants out. The contaminants that include, and I have the little brochure here, I'm not gonna show whose brand or name it is, but some of those contaminants include, which I said in the other video too, fluoride, chlorine, trihalomethanes, which is a cleaning fluid, also mercury, lead, iron, arsenic, and other radioactive chemicals. So this is all found in our, city tap water. And if you even do a quick search to find, because they have to list the contaminants that are found in your city or local water. I did one the other day. I was completely shocked. It's crazy. So it's all there, and the FDA allows for a certain number of contaminants. So it'll show you whether or not your city or wherever you are, where your city lines up on that contaminant. So it could be times 1200 over the contaminant level, or you could be under, but I was just pretty doggone shocked at the contaminants found in my local area, which is crazy. Okay, so again, the waters that are found in those grocery store thingies, they're just municipal city water that has been filtered, and I wasn't too pleased with that. So looks like I'm back at square one, and I'm going to just do the spring water for now by the gallon, but then I'm gonna look into the delivery service as well. I know it's going to be a little bit more expensive, but I think it's worth it, because are you not worthy? What I always say, you are worthy. Okay, so when it comes to your health, would you want to be drinking fluoride and mercury and chlorine as much water as we should be drinking all the time? No, I don't think so. Okay, all right guys, so that is it for today's video. I think that's it. So that's all I wanted to share with you. The plastics, the dangers of the plastics. Don't keep them in the car and drink your water. Have your own reusable water bottle, and then be mindful of your consuming and your recycling and all that good stuff, okay? Be a conscious consumer. That's part of living holistically. So that's it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed. I will see you next week as we continue the water series. I got something really good for you guys next week, so stay tuned. Make sure you like and subscribe and leave any comments below. I will see you next week. Bye.